Hello, Internet! I have a hyperactive munchkin behind me. He is losing his dang mind. Alright, chill. So we got lucky last night because we filmed Oz ahead of time and I posted it about 8 o'clock. Which was fortunate because from 7:30 p.m. last night to 5:30 a.m. this morning, we had no power. Because there was a big old storm. It was terrible. And there was a tornado warning and the kids were all freaked out. I was like, hey, worst case scenario, you end up in Oz.
We stayed in the bathroom.
And I was like, yeah, Eliana goes, we stayed in the bathroom. I'm like, just don't let the hungry tiger eat your brother, because he's my baby, and the hungry tiger likes to eat babies.
Yeah, but he's not a fat baby.
Why wouldn't you like?
The girls are like, we'll let him eat Arthur. We don't even like that kid. And I'm like, that's mean. They're very mean. Whoa, I got right up in your face, right up in the face. Hi. Okay, we're gonna read chapter 18. Of Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz. There's only 20 chapters in this book. I just smacked the bejesus out of this book. Made a very loud noise. Do you hear that? That's me smacking a book. Chapter 18 of... There's only 20 chapters. So tomorrow night will be chapter 19. And then Thursday night, when the kids go back to school, they go back to school on Thursday. I'm terrified. On Thursday night, we're going to read chapter 20. And then on Friday, we'll start the 5th book in the Oz series. It's called The Road to Oz. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. All right. Tonight is chapter 18 of Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, and it is entitled The Trial of Eureka the Kitten. Eureka going to be in trouble. Let's find out what happened. Several days of festivity and merrymaking followed, for such old friends did not often meet, and there was much to be told and talked over between them, and many amusements to be enjoyed in this delightful country. Ozma was happy to have Dorothy beside her, for girls of her own age with whom it was proper for the princess to associate were very few, and often the youthful ruler of Oz was lonely for lack of companionship. It was the 3rd morning after Dorothy's arrival, and she was sitting with Ozma and their friends in a reception room, talking over old times, when the princess said to her maid, "Please go to my room, Jellia, and get the white piglet I left on the dressing table. I want to play with it." Jellia at once departed on the errand, and she was gone so long that they had almost forgotten her mission when the green-robed maiden returned with a troubled face. "The piglet's not there, your highness," she said. "Not there?" exclaimed Ozma. "Are you sure?" "I hunted every part of the room," the maid replied. "Was not the door closed?" asked the princess. "Yes, your highness. I'm sure it was, for when I opened it, Dorothy's little white kitten crept out and ran up the stairs." Hearing this, Dorothy and the wizard exchanged startled glances, for they remembered how often Eureka had longed to eat a piglet. The little girl jumped up at once. "Come, Ozma," she said anxiously. "Let us go ourselves to search for the piglet." So the two went to the dressing room of the princess and searched carefully in every corner and among the vases and baskets and ornaments that stood about the pretty boudoir. But not a trace could they find of the tiny creature they sought. Dorothy was nearly weeping by this time, while Ozma was angry and indignant. When they returned to the others, the princess said, There is little doubt that my pretty piglet has been eaten by that horrid kitten, and if that is true, the offender must be punished." "I don't believe Eureka would do such a dreadful thing," cried Dorothy, much distressed. "Go and get my kitten, please, Jellia, and we'll hear what she has to say about it." The Green Maiden hastened away, but presently returned and said, "A kitten will not come. She threatened to scratch my eyes out if I touched her." "Where is she?" asked Dorothy. "Under the bed in your own room," was the reply. So Dorothy ran to her room and found the kitten under her bed. "Come here, Eureka," she said. "I won't," answered the kitten in a surly voice. "Oh, Eureka, why are you so bad?" The kitten did not reply. "If you don't come to me right away," continued Dorothy, getting provoked, "I'll take my magic belt and wish you in the country of the Gurgles." "Why do you want me?" asked Eureka, disturbed by this threat. "You must go to Princess Ozma. She wants to talk to you." "All right," returned the kitten, creeping out. "I'm not afraid of Ozma or anyone else." Dorothy carried her in her arms back to where the others sat in grieved and thoughtful silence. "Tell me, Eureka," said the princess gently, "did you eat my pretty piglet?" "I won't answer such a foolish question," asserted Eureka with a snarl. "Oh, yes, you will, dear," Dorothy declared. "Piglet is gone, and if you ran out the room when Jelly opened the door... So if you are innocent, Eureka, you must tell the princess how you came to be in her room and what has become of the piglet." "Who accuses me?" asked the kitten defiantly. "Well, no one," answered Ozma. "Your actions alone accuse you. The fact is that I left my little pet in the dressing room lying asleep upon the table, and you must have stolen in without my knowing it. When next door was open, you ran out and hid yourself, and my piglet was gone." "It's none of my business," growled the kitten. "Don't be impudent, Eureka," admonished Dorothy. "It is you who are impudent," said Eureka, "for accusing me of such a crime when you can't prove it except by guessing." Ozma was now greatly incensed by the kitten's conduct. She summoned her captain general, and words are hard, and I'm very tired because I had to stay up all night with no power. I'm sorry. We're going to start that sentence over again. When the long, lean officer appeared, she said, "Carry this cat away to the prison, and keep her in safe confinement until she is tried by law for the crime of murder." So the Captain General took Eureka from the arms of the now weeping Dorothy, and in spite of the kitten's snarls and scratches, carried it away to prison. "What do we do now?" asked the Scarecrow with a sigh, for such a crime had cast a gloom over all the company. "I will summon the court to meet in the throne room at 3 o'clock, replied Ozma. "I myself will be the judge, and the kitten shall have a fair trial." "What'll happen if she's guilty?" asked Dorothy. "She must die," answered the princess. 9 times? Inquired the Scarecrow. "As many times as is necessary," was the reply. "I will ask the Tin Woodman to defend the prisoner. Because he has such a kind heart, I am sure he will do his best to save her. And the Wogglebug shall be the public accuser, because he is so learned that no one can deceive him." "Who will be the jury?" asked the Tin Woodman. "There ought to be several animals on the jury," said Ozma, "because animals understand each other better than we people understand them. So the jury shall consist of the Cowardly Lion, the Hungry Tiger, Jim the Cab Horse, the Yellow Hen, the Scarecrow, the Wizard, Tick-Tock the Machine Man, the Sawhorse, and Zeb of Hugson's Ranch. That shall make the 9, which the law requires, and all my people should be admitted to hear testimony." They now separated to prepare for the sad ceremony, for whenever an appeal is made to law, sorrow is almost certain to follow, even in a fairyland like Oz. But it must be stated that the people of that land were generally so well behaved that there was not a single lawyer amongst them, and it had been years since any ruler had sat in judgment upon an offender of the law. The crime of murder being the most dreadful crime of all, tremendous excitement prevailed in the Emerald City when the news of Eureka's arrest and trial became known. The Wizard, when he returned to his own room, was exceedingly thoughtful. He had no doubt Eureka had eaten his piglet, but he realized that a kitten cannot be depended upon at all times to act properly, since its nature is to destroy small animals and even birds for food. And the tame cat that we keep in our houses today is descended from the wild cat of the jungle, a very ferocious creature indeed. The Wizard knew that if Dorothy's pet was found guilty and condemned to death, the little girl would be made very unhappy. So although he grieved over the piglet's sad fate as much as any of them, he resolved to save Eureka's life. Sending for the Tin Woodman, the Wizard took him into a corner and whispered, "My friend, it is your duty to defend the white kitten and try to save her. But I fear you will fail, because Eureka has long wished to eat a piglet, to my certain knowledge, and my opinion is that she's been unable to resist the temptation. Yet her disgrace and death would not bring back the piglet, but only serve to make Dorothy unhappy. So I intend to prove the kitten's innocent by a trick." He drew from inside of his pocket one of the 8 tiny piglets that were remaining, and continued, "This creature you must hide in some safe place, and if the jury decides that Eureka is guilty, you may then produce this piglet and claim it is the one that was lost. If all the piglets are exactly alike, so no one can dispute your word, This deception will save Eureka's life, and then we may all be happy again." "I do not like to deceive my friends," replied the Tin Woodman. "Still, my kind heart urges me to save Eureka's life, and I can usually trust my heart to do the right thing. So I will do as you say, friend wizard." After some thought, he placed the little piglet inside his funnel-shaped hat, then put the hat upon his head and went back to his room to think over his speech to the jury. And that is the end of Chapter 18. It's called The Trial of Eureka the Kitten, but the trial must happen in Chapter 19, because it certainly didn't happen in Chapter 18, now did it? Okay, so tomorrow night we're going to read Chapter 19. I'm going to have to read it ahead of time because I got to be at church tomorrow night, but that'll be okay. We'll read Chapter 19, and Chapter 19 is called The Wizard Performs Another Trick.
Are we just going to skip over the fact that there's a dead piglet and I'm really sad?
Annabelle's very upset about the idea that there's a dead piglet. But I will remind you, this is the same Annabelle that cried because the Tin Woodman was lost forever in the Gnome King's caverns last book.
Which was actually lost because
I
he's a
didn't
whistle.
cry. I mean,
You cried, kid.
I might have cried.
She's all, "I didn't cry." She cried a little. She cried a little. So I'm just saying, wait till the book is over. Honestly, I've read these books before, but I do not remember if the piglet is actually dead. But I know if the piglet is actually dead, it would be like the first actual murder in any of these books. So, I mean, aside from like the Tin Woodman like chopping off the heads of those crows that were attacking them in the first book.
Yeah, but that's not death. That's just chopping.
There was a bunch of attempted murders.
There were a bunch of attempted murders. You know what? We're going to find out over the next 2 nights as we finish Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz. Tomorrow night and Thursday night will be the last 2 chapters. Friday night, we start book 5!
Eureka killed a piglet. I don't like Eureka.
Good night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.